Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to another video game review with the best boys, Getselious. Oh wait, this isn't Sif Scott. What are you doing here, Keith?
They beat up Scott and I took his place, so don't mind me.
Oh, so can you at least do Sif Scott hello he usually does?
No, I will not. I refuse. I'm not impersonating anybody. I'm original 100% me.
Alright, so it's Getselious and Mean Grandpa Keith, and I guess we're gonna review River City.
Whoa. My kids don't have kids. You can't call me grandpa yet. Thank God.
Thank God. Oh no, your kids will have kids, trust me.
Not right now, so we good.
Very good. Alright, so I guess Mean Grumpy Man Keith over here and myself, Getselious, are doing a review for the latest beat 'em up game that just came out, River City Girls 2. River City Girls 2 was developed by Wayforward and published by Arc Systems Works. Match made in heaven. And before we get down more into this review, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell as well, be notified next time we go live with content, and follow us on our social media in the descriptions below. So, River City Girls 2, a sequel to River City Girls 1. How does it hold up? We'll talk more about that later, but let's talk about the first thing: graphics and aesthetics. So, let's be honest about this. Graphically, the game just fits exactly like River City Girls 1. Same art style, excellent pixel art. The cutscenes are done in manga panel formats. Looks good. They made some minor improvements over the art across the board, but it fits what it does. It's really good. That's how much I feel about it. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's a great looking game. I have said before, I'm getting tired of the whole retro look with the pixel art, but it fits the game. It's just like the first game, so you can't have any complaints about it. I don't really have any major complaints about it. When you play it, the game is fluid. It looks amazing. Being a PC snob that I am a little frustrated that there aren't many options in there to adjust visual options in the game. But for a game this simple, it doesn't really need anything there. I will also add in that when we played online, I don't know if it's because you were the host and maybe because it's internet connectivity or whatnot, but when I played online, it wasn't as fluid animation style or animation wise as when I played it offline. So maybe there's something there. I'm not exactly sure with whoever hosts this session. You know, peer-to-peer is a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Peer-to-peer can be as good or as weak as something else. Like, a little off topic here. I recently uploaded my collab with Nier, Volshock, and Sif Scott, and we all played Bravery and Greed. I believe that game maybe also run kind of peer-to-peer. And Nier and Sif Scott and Volshock live way further than me. I'm pretty sure Volshock, Sif Scott in like the western part of America, and Nier is, I think, within the same vicinity as me, but netcode was pretty good. So it's a strange beast how peer-to-peer is consistent.
Yeah, it's always going to be a toss-up. You're always at the behold at the connection of the host, how far away they are from you, and the speed of their internet they have, and also if they're using wired or wireless, that's also a big.
True. Or there's a whole bunch of things with that. But if I'm wrong about Bravery and Greed being peer-to-peer, the developer knows, let me know, because it was pretty smooth. But anyway, back to the thing at hand. I gotta give this game a solid 5 for its graphic aesthetics. It just looks the way it does and improves upon it better. There are much more touch-ups I feel in the art I've noticed in River City Girls 2 than 1, but yeah, everyone top-notch in that part. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the audio and the sound effects, essentially how the game sounds and everything. So this game has voice acting, and though there has been changes for certain characters in the game from previous and newer voice actors to the series, it just sounds really good. Everyone sounds like the way I expect them to sound. Villains and the heroes and other characters in between.
Oh, were you waiting for me to say something about the audio? Because I couldn't hear you. I was too busy listening to the soundtrack. Sorry.
Yeah.
Audio was amazing.
Yeah. Look, that's another thing too. The soundtrack is just banger too. They have an excellent range of music across the board, from chip tunes, remixes of the older River City games. I think there's a couple of Double Dragon themes in there. Various shops and various theme songs. The God, I would say some of the Vaporwave aesthetic songs first. It's just really good. This is a soundtrack I would pay money for. The same way I've also paid money for the Nitro Kids soundtrack, but I would pay money for this too. It's a really good soundtrack.
The problem with that is, unfortunately, that usually games like this that aren't major games typically don't get a soundtrack release unless the developers are very, what's the word I'm looking for? If they're very responsive and they listen to the community. So hopefully we will get that, because there's some great music in this game that I've heard thus far.
Yeah,
music's amazing, but again, what good is a game without other sounds like punch, kick, the voice acting? Everything is spot on. Really enjoy it.
Even the sound effects when you hit parries perfectly, it just feels good and sounds good. So it's like, yeah, definitely gotta give it a 5. It's just it's perfect across the board, right down to the last minute detail. It was perfect. So, and the next thing we're gonna talk about is the core of River City Girls, the gameplay. All right, this is a beat 'em up RPG combo thing. So, I'm gonna be honest with you. The first 4 or 5 levels of any character you decide to play, it's gonna be painful, very painful. There's no else to get around that, because at the beginning you get a running attack, a basic 1-2-3 combo, and a heavy attack. So you're gonna have to grind to get some money to unlock some special moves and better heavy attacks. Or if you're really spicy, you grind up so much that you could get your first air combo. It's spicy, but
yeah, I don't have a problem with the way the game is. Given that it is a beat 'em up RPG game, that's to be expected. The second you hear RPG, there's going to be some grinding in the game, and that's expected. I like I said, I don't have any problems with that. I think it works fine for what it is. I also want to go back real quick about the soundtrack. Apparently, the soundtrack is out, so yeah, definitely download that, or buy it and download it. But getting back to the gameplay, it's great, especially when you're playing 2 players and they both know what they're doing. The game flows. Of course, the game gets harder, but that's expected.
Exactly.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's pretty much perfect.
Yeah, 100%. Now, there are interesting things at this time around. They have made a lot of changes to how combos work, and I would say certain characters improvements. I remember in the first game, particularly Kunio, the character I like, I end up speedrunning River City Girls 1 when I found out you could play with Kunio as a playable character, play Kunio. So that's really cool. They did some cool changes to the guy, some new attacks. I really like them. The only thing also improved in this game, you cannot soft lock yourself for this game, so that's an improvement. Thanks, Wayforward. Can't soft lock yourself. There's ways you can do it. You can look it up that way. Now, when it comes to combo mechanics in the game, you can launch your opponent in the air, you can wall bounce them. I'm just being very general about this. You can do things like that. You can summon assist, which is a mechanic from the first game. So to summon assist, you have to get an assist. You essentially have to beat up an enemy weak enough where they plead for mercy, and then you grab them, and then you shoot any trigger button, left trigger or right trigger, depending on your pad, and you put them in your assist slot. And you summon them for assist. These assists can be used to defend yourself if you're blocking, or to make space for you when hitting. They can also assist you doing combos and have different properties. Now, what's really interesting is that you can get the same. Obviously, there are multiple sprites of the same character. Keith can attest. There are many schoolboy punks that are wearing like the same uniform, but have different colored t-shirts, different skin color, different hair color, right?
Right.
But they all do their assist a bit differently, though they're the same character class. So there is a kind of meta game, if you want to know how to extend your combos to beat things up better, to pick a certain color or a different type. A perfect example of this is later in the game, when you get to the junkyard or scrapyard area, you fight cyborg enemies. Now, the cyborg with the blonde hair actually has the Jack 6 Mach Punch, and will actually help you punch enemies far away and can assist the wall bounce. But if you pick up the black cyborg with the kind of like robotic like skin ripped off, whatever, looks more Terminator-ish, he actually does a running knee attack, which will just get enemies off you. So there is a difference. It's like, I'll just pick up anyone. Like, if you want to have a little meta for your combos, it's really cool. I think it's really neat that they gave each of them different attacks when you pick them up for your assists.
Now, if you're watching the background of this video here, you can see that while I am getting my butt kicked here, I do try to do certain combos, even though I just started off, so I don't have access to everything. But it is interesting, like Matt said, on how you can do certain combos and using your assist to prolong combos. And then right there, that's how you actually recruit a character. Now, I did mention this to Matt about this, that I did have an issue with how the system works. If you're not paying attention to the visual cues, you'll end up smacking the person who's begging you to join your team. Now, I wish they would give that. If they were to beg, give them like a split second of invincibility, so you go, oh wait, crap, I didn't mean to hit you, I wanted to take you. And then once that invincibility wears off, if you don't want them, then you just beat them in the face and
get your money.
Yeah.
It's interesting in that degree. Another cool little gameplay aspect of the game is that, you know, the weapon system, you beat up enemies. They actually provide a training mode early in the game, rather than you have to find some way to do it in the original. So I think it's really cool too. Another thing this game does really well is direct you to your locations every you want to be. Now, in River City fashion, if you play the older ones like Ransom or Underground, even some of the classic, you know, I don't want to pronounce them in Japanese, the classic River City games, they could be a bit hard and difficult to go through because it's kind of not as direct where you need to be. You need to go to, let's say, the far end of town to meet up these guys to progress the story, right? Now, this game does a really good job telling you where to go and how to get there by, you know, pausing it, and you go to your app screen and there's messages you get from other characters in the game that helps you. So that's one way to do it as well. I think that the game has a really good flow from directing you where you need to be and where you want to be. I felt like a lot of the levels in this game are, at least the first 2-3 bosses, are not as difficult as compared to I felt in River City Girls 1. In River City Girls 1, right out the gate when you're in the school, you fight a boss with a very limited moveset. That's kind of like underpowering. I mean, granted, the best way to describe it is that Keith, have you ever played Devil May Cry?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Just gotta make sure you play Devil May Cry, okay? I know you're very persnickety about your games, okay?
I reviewed Devil May Cry 5, man.
You reviewed it? Did you really? I'm just kidding. I'm alright. No, but as you know, in Devil May Cry, you beat the game, you get in plus mode, you keep all your moves you have, and then you play the game again, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So when you do that, yeah, I have a tendency to be a little over-explanatory. You can enjoy the game a little more differently. It just feels less difficult. I feel like River City Girls 1, the best part of River City Girls 1 was beating the game in New Game Plus. While River City Girls 2, you don't really need to do New Game Plus to enjoy it because the progression of how the enemy bosses feel really good. So I don't ever feel like, you know what, if I had XX move, I'll beat this guy so early. No, you can just do it the way it is. So I definitely like that about the gameplay.
I will say that I don't like how, good example is the first boss, where it is very gimmicky. You would think that in a game like this, if you played the first game, then you would know. But the first boss in this game, where you fight him, he's gimmicky, where he calls for help. He ends up pulling out a gun. You know, there's pauses in the gameplay flow, and it is a tad frustrating. So don't go into this game expecting a straight brawler, because that's not exactly what's going to happen in certain instances.
Well, the same thing is like the pause and inflation happens in all brawler beat 'em ups. Otherwise, they'll be like monsters. You just like crush them all the time. Even DMC.
No,
DMC
but it doesn't
too,
cause that much of a delay. It's just. Really
I mean, it's more frustrating because in this game, a lot of the cues when it comes to doing things, you have to be a little more reactive to it. For example. I would suggest people learning how to do the up-down dashes real quick, versus up-down real quickly, as would be being visually aware for jumping. And sometimes if you, even though block is good and parry is sick when you hit it, not every attack is parryable. Sometimes it's just unblockable attack, get out of there, you know?
You can parry gunshots, FYI.
FYI, yeah, FYI, a little spoiler for the first boss, you can't parry gunshots, so that's that in a nutshell. But overall, I feel the gameplay is solid. It improves much more on the first game. It feels just overall smoother. All the characters feel like insane. I mean, I can go into detail, but like how I think Ricky, Misako's boyfriend, is just like insanely broken. He has an ability where he just throws a fireball. I think it's called Glam Ball, and you can combo after it through it. It basically describe it as, Keith, you know how I feel about Street Fighter V. Ed is the best character. Ed can do, you know, his V trigger one where he throws the shadow ball at you.
I don't play Ed. Sorry.
You don't play Ed. Oh my god. Yeah, you and your non-Ed players. But he throws a shadow ball. Yeah, he throws a shadow ball at you, and then he can mix you up by dashing under it, hopping left and right from you. And Rika can do the same thing. So he could just throw it and then bounce you left and right. It's insane. I'm like, holy snap! I can't believe they just put this in the game. It's cracked. But this game really feels good mid to late game for all characters. But enough of me gushing about the gameplay. I really love it. It's really fun, but the early half can be a bit difficult. And for that, I'll give the gameplay a 5 because it's an RPG. You have to grind, okay? There's nothing wrong with a little grinding, okay? Grind so you get some moves and then you feel a bit strong, but it's not that too difficult. And I don't mean grind so you can buy everything in the shop. You buy, like, a couple of things, okay? Also, improvement for the first game, the clapping out here. When you go to the shop to buy a move, they show you the preview of the move and tell you what type of move it is, so you don't like, oh no, I'm just randomly guessing which move is which move. No. This is a normal attack, which go into your normal tree. This is an air attack. This is a heavy attack. This is a special attack. Sweet. Feels good.
Yeah. A lot more games are doing that now, thank God. You know, we grew up in an era where it was like, hey, you want this attack? But you have no idea what exactly this attack does. Now you're getting games that showcase the attack before you buy it, before you waste points on it, and I'm glad that those things exist.
Yeah, lordy lord, that was so brutal.
I didn't mean to spend all my money on this useless attack that only works in air attacks at certain situations.
Yeah,
why did I do that?
Especially you don't even, like, let's say you're not even an air combo kind of person, right? Like, let's just say you're like me, like I said, I'm a Cunha, I love Cunha, I'm just straightforward, man. I just want to punch things straight in the face. I just want to do a basic combo and end it. I'm not the fanciest person, so why would I pick up a move that's like very situational? I mean, I'll pick it up later, but it's not what I need right now, you know. It's good to have that, and I think that's really cool. They applied in the game. Also, the food mechanics back in the game. Buying food increases your stats, which makes you stronger, and you can store a number of food into your inventory so you can heal yourself for later when you're fighting bosses. I think that's really neat. I think it's a really neat mechanic. So
going into that, just a little clarification that when you buy food and you eat it the first time, you get those stats.
Yep, exactly. Yep, thank you for correcting me. Yep, exactly.
If you do it any other time, it doesn't work. So the good thing is, if you buy it in a store, the store will show you, hey, this is what this thing gives you. It gives you luck or strength or agility or swimming speed or whatever. And then if you eat it at that store and you try and buy another piece of it or another version of it, whatever, it will no longer have that ability. So it's a one-time permanent game.
Right, and I think that's a really good idea because people have been trying like, let me just get infinite money and just eat a bunch of chocolate bars and I got like infinite attack points. Like, no. We mapped this out.
The only thing I wish they would do is, if you're not paying attention to the abbreviation, is actually spell out what this is. Like when we were playing, I was like, what's WP? I mean, obviously I could have figured it was weapon, but
oh yeah, there was a I think
they need to spell those out a little. They need to make them a little more obvious.
Yeah,
I mean, AG, everybody knows that's agility, but the other ones are like, well, I don't understand.
Yeah, definitely. And now we have to get to the final portion of this beautiful thing. So, final score. We enjoyed the game, and it's hard to say. We have to give it a solid 2. You know, a solid decent 2. That's fair, Keith, right?
Double Dragon 4 was better.
Double Dragon 4 was better. Oh god, no! Oh my god, no! Please.
People who will get that joke will understand that. We had a chance to review Double Dragon 4 a while back, and it was like, wow, this is terrible. This game should not exist. This is worse.
This is
terrible.
Worse.
This is worse. I was gonna say worse than Double Dragon Neon, but I enjoyed Neon, even though some people did. Double Dragon 4 was just oof.
Before we get to the final score, I have a tangent, but I think Double Dragon Neon was pretty innovative in a different way. It was a very different, but it still functioned the way it was. I think that it may not be as combo heavy or stylish as I want to say as the other beat 'em ups or other games around that genre at the time, but it still had kind of its own thing. I enjoyed it. Plus, the music was really cool.
The music was great, but it doesn't beat the GOAT that was Double Dragon 2.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Double Dragon.
But This game, but back to the final score. We have to give this game a 5. It's just chef's kiss across the board. Wayforward knocked it out of the park once again in this series. I feel like Wayforward is becoming like one of my favorite companies of games they made. I like Spider Swords. I really my favorite River City Girls too. I'm looking forward to more of their next projects, things they do, and yeah, just looking forward to things they do because it feels like every property they touch or make, they've really put a lot of heart and soul into making the game funny, personable, and just function the way it is. Spider Swords is a Contra kind of style shoot 'em up, and it just works really, really well. Sometimes that's all you really need.
I'm not as fanboyish over Wayforward as Matt is. I give the fact that they are a great studio and they've been doing a lot better over the last couple of years, but they do release every so often some games that are very questionable. Double Dragon 4 or
Look.
Parks. Okay, but let me get back to it. But Wayforward has gotten better. They've done a lot of great games. I know you're super excited over Spider Sword, so leave it alone with that one. But that Mummy's Returns, Mummy's game was not very good.
Let's be fair about this, okay? I'm gonna answer. Double Dragons 4 was just an underappreciated masterpiece that was made three days before release, okay? Let's just admit the truth, okay? And Mummy's Return, come on, it's Brendan Fraser. It didn't have Brendan Fraser. Where's Brendan Fraser?
No. This game was based off the one with the Tom Cruise. So the Mummy, there's the reboot Mummy.
Oh, that's even worse. Yeah, it was no Brendan Fraser, no go.
I love Brendan Fraser. Come on, those movies were fantastic. There was no game for those that I'm aware of.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, you know what? I know we should, stop spinning off tangents. Keep on going hours. We're old guys. What? It's a crime that we didn't get Brendan Fraser to voice act the video game. That guy is such a funny and a personal dude. I would love to see him be in an Uncharted game, or be in some kind of action platformer kind of thing.
He can start a movie that is about old guys that are playing video games, and they're trying to explain how video games used to be in their time to a bunch of kids who don't understand how games were back then and only think that the things they play now are Fortnite, and that's it. So it'd be like a coming of time movie. There you go.
I actually would enjoy that much immensely. Also, another mechanic in the game I'm about to tell you about. You can find certain people in the city and pay them money to help you be your assist. There are tons and tons of secret people and secret character assists. There are tons of them. They're really cool. And let's just say a soul dad guy shop comes out, okay? And a Chinese restaurant owner comes and helps you out in this game. So shouts to Wayforward for getting on that. I think it's really cool.
I think of the game at 4.5 because I can't beat the people in the streets. Literally, I want to hit them all and I can't.
That's true. Oh,
so
man.
They're just they dodge everything, they parry everything. You literally cannot hit those people. Come on.
Come on. Oh man. But honestly though, if you're looking for a beat 'em up and you're looking for to play with your friends or something interesting, if you played River City Girls 1, this is up your alley. If you haven't played River City Girls 1, this is also up your alley because it's a really good beat 'em up. And granted, it'll be different from experiences with those who play more arcade-ish and traditional beat 'em ups like TMNT or Streets of Rage 4. I think this is really going to be up your alley because it fits the same way, and the power structure is more over time than immediate. So it kind of makes you come back. And there's 6 playable characters, so you can find a character you like and more. Got any more to add to that, my good buddy Keith? Or you just still jamming to that soundtrack?
I'm sorry, what? I'm still jamming to the soundtrack. Sorry.
Jesus, look, just buy me a copy, please. All right.
This soundtrack is
so good.
Good.
So good. Bump, bump. So good. Bump, bump. We gave it a 5. Dun, 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 dun. So
yeah, go play it. It's available PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Nintendo Switch, which is actually a great platform to play on, unless you have a Steam Deck. Then, play on Steam Deck.
That's the future. Anyway, this is Getselious and not Sif Scott signing out. It's Keith. I know.
It's Scott Keith Mitchell. Sorry.
I know he betrayed. Yeah. So Sif Scott, if you seeing this, I'm sorry that you've been knocked out by Keith, but he's on the review this time. So Well, anyway, with that out the way, thank you so much for checking out the video. I can't stop. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell as well. You'll be notified next time we go live, and follow us again in our social links below so you'll be notified of things will go on the side. And with that, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Later.